Hey everybody, welcome back to the PD Resh YouTube channel, where today we're going to take a look at the A fixed car at Legacy Texas Motor Speedway. I won't lie, I thought this would be more fun of a week, but it's kind of not because we've got the high downforce Cup car package. So that lends itself to miniature super speedway racing. So you can think of this week as Texadega. There's not much strategy or skill involved really as far as wheeling the car goes. Most of what's going to benefit you is not making contact with other people and knowing when to defend your position. Now, popping up the track map here real briefly, you will still see that it's a D-shaped oval, so your entry into turn 1 will be slightly wider than your entry into turn 3, and your exit of turn 2 is going to be a little bit tighter than your exit of turn 4. However, these cars have so much downforce and grip that they really don't feel that different. Uh, One of the fun things about the ARCA cars here, for example, is that you can kind of feel yourself slingshotting the car through the corner, and with these you really can't. They stick, they don't really let go, and if they do, it's usually without warning. So what you can feel as you travel through the corner is that the car is always going between an oversteer condition and an understeer condition. It's always kind of balancing between being loose and tight. So you do have to deal with that. And as you go throughout a run, what you'll feel is that the car naturally just kind of gets tighter on your corner entry to mid-corner phases. And then on the exit, as the right front tire wears down and you're having to steer just a little bit more on your corner exit, the car wants to snap oversteer just a little bit. So be aware of that. But that does bring me to the steering ratio. And at this track, I either like to run a 14-to-1 or a 16-to-1 steering ratio because that stops me from turning the tires too much as I'm traveling through the corner, and I don't wear the right front out as much, which ends up being really beneficial throughout the course of a longer run because any of the passes that you do end up making under green will likely be from the driver ahead of you struggling to hold the car down on the lower part of the corner exit. So you'll be able to drive up next to them on that corner exit because maybe their car kind of gets tight and they have to let out of the throttle, or just because it's a little bit slower for the car to ride up. You'll be able to hold the car down into that lower line and you'll get next to them. And then as you head down into the next corner, because they'll have a lane up, they have more track to travel through, and you'll likely be able to kind of ease your way past them and make the pass on corner exit. So in the race conditions, that's probably going to be more pronounced because you're going faster than you can by yourself. The other major factor from this week that you need to be aware of isn't so much about the driving, but about drivers. Because this week is going to be kind of frustrating with making passes and trying to gain positions on track, you're going to have a lot of people that really force the issue on your corner entries. So that's something to absolutely be aware of. Basically, what you're going to see a lot this week is a driver might get a run on you down the back straightaway or into a corner, and they're going to try to shove their nose under your car. And if you take a defensive line, so you kind of pinch off your corner entry, they're probably going to stay with you instead of letting out of the throttle and pulling in line behind you. They're going to force the issue also. And I have seen people try to enter the corner on the apron or just under the white line. That always leads to a mess. So what I would recommend in those cases, if you do take a defensive line, let's say you've got somebody pulling up on your rear bumper, and so you turn your car down the track in the straightaway a bit to take a more defensive line into the corner. If they force the issue and try to go for it, I would honestly say give them room and let them take that position. Only because if you force that issue too much, and they're dedicated to going below you and they have a terrible entry, their car is going to slide up the track, probably into the side of you, and then you're going to wreck. They maybe will wreck, but then there's a very good chance that your race is going to be done, and then you got to wait another 2 hours to do another one here. So it's better to be a little bit cautious, I feel like, as far as that goes. And on starts and restarts, just be aware of all the cars around you. It's going to be an absolute mess. So just be really conscious of where everybody is around you and where your car is, and try not to make too many erratic movements from left to right. Kind of like at a super speedway, you would try to be a little bit more conscious and smooth of what's going on. So with all of that said, let's take a quick look at the qualifying lap, and then we'll briefly discuss it. So that's our lap for 28.922. It's kind of give or take as far as the lap time itself goes, because it's so dependent on track conditions and exactly how close you get to that white line. But we'll take a quick look at it here. Carry as much momentum as you can out and let the car ride up the track so that you can really fly it down to the line. And here you'll see we're not going next to the wall. We're kind of pinching the car down on the entry because we have all the grip in the world, keeping it as close to that white line as we can. And you can tell the back of the car is dancing a little bit. Not going all the way up to the wall again. Turning in, really pinching that entry, doing everything we can to keep it on that line and let the car ride up slightly, but not all the way up to the wall. So you're cutting out some distance on the track. And that's going to set you up with an okay qualifying lap. Like I said, it's going to be really tough to set like a pole time or a top 5 time because all the times are going to be very, very similar. And you're going to have drivers that just nail it that little bit extra and get themselves up front. So that's going to be how qualifying goes for this week. And as I said, for the race, just be careful, but you do kind of have to be aggressive. We spoke earlier about if a car's moving under you going into the corner, but let's kind of flip that around and say if you're the driver that's pushing the issue, just be aware of how the driver that you're trying to pass is. Um, if they're forcing you below that line or really pinching your entry of the corner off, then back out of the throttle just a tiny bit and pull back in line. That's going to serve you better than trying to force them out of the way, and you'll have a better race that way. So, with all of that said, this is a bit of a shorter guide. I just want to say thank you so much for being here, and thank you all so much for over 50 subscribers at the time of making this video. Never thought that anybody would really want to watch these and kind of come on this journey. But I've really enjoyed making them, enjoy learning more about how to do it and racing and kind of improving. So, hope you picked up some more tricks for the track. Hope you find a way to enjoy Legacy Texas this week and that it treats you well. And I will see you all in the next video. Have a good one.